Everyone in their life has a teacher or two, if they're lucky, who has changed the way they live and who they are as people. Mr. Jensen was one of those for me.
Back then, as I'm sure it is today, Stuyvesant was a bubbling cauldron of intellectual curiosity. At Stuyvesant, academics was a contact sport, and I showed up as a 98-pound weakling. Fortunately for me, that was about to change when I met Sterling Jensen.
Without Sterling Jensen, I would not be the person I am, and I dare to say there are thousands of Stuyvesant graduates who feel the same way. All I know is that in the loneliness of my adolescence and at times feeling isolated from the norm, if you will, he gave me courage and support in everything that I did.
Sterling Jensen was my English teacher at Stuyvesant, and he was the first person who ever said anything to me complimentary about my voice. He told me I had a great voice, I should become an actor. He said we had to get my voice up out of my diaphragm and out through my mouth. Well, I never thought of myself as an actor and never tried, but I did become a sportscaster, and I do credit Sterling Jensen with putting that thought in my mind about my voice. He's the man.
I remember visiting my mother and Sterling in his tiny apartment in New York City, in the Village. And he walked in and he started talking to me about his students at Stuyvesant. I remember him talking about how these kids are geniuses when it comes to the math and sciences. He says they're just really, really smart. None of us can understand it. But when it comes to communicating, when it comes to speaking in front of an audience, that's the part that they don't really have. It's my job to help them learn how to communicate so that they can be, the great people and accomplish the great things that they can. I think his students, and certainly the theater, were the entirety of Sterling's life. He was passionate about them. He gave everything to them, and I think he felt very, very satisfied and pleased with his life, for doing that.
Believe it or not, Sterling Jensen had a life before Stuyvesant. He had a life in California, in the U.S. Army, as an actor on the West Coast, an actor in New York City, and an actor at Roundabout while he was at Stuyvesant. He was one of the founders of Roundabout in the sense that he was in all the plays, many of the plays in the first 5 years. And he was a reliable, interesting, creative artist. And it was very helpful to me and the theater to have his creative contribution.
Blow, winds, crack your cheeks, rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanes, spout till you've drenched our steeples, drown the cocks, you sulphurs and thought-executing fires, born couriers of oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head, and thou, all-shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world, crack nature's moles, all German spirit ones that make it grateful land.
At Stuyvesant, all the students fell in love with him because he was a person who gave and didn't demand anything of people, really. And he directed Julius Caesar at Stuyvesant, and I was amazed to see how inspired the students seemed to be, because they caught fire from him and did work beyond what you would expect of people of their age, and they almost look professional. And that was Sterling's contribution. Make people bigger than themselves, reach for the stars.
I don't know that I've ever had an experience quite like those 4 months rehearsing Julius Caesar under Mr. Jensen's tutelage.
Jensen taught us things in that theater arts class that to this day I still utilize.
Sterling would bring his students to the very brink of a new self-understanding and then encourage them to jump.
He seemed to bring a feeling of the theater into the school building.
It was theater in English every day.
I took one of Sterling's public speaking courses, and it changed my life.
A fun guy to be with. Always enjoyed looking forward to his classes. I can't think of anyone that ever cut any of his classes because we wanted to be there. He made it so that we wanted to be there.
And if I could have, I would have had it for every class because he was a teacher way above and beyond any other teacher I'd ever experienced before.
We were a small group, a platoon of students who were actively engaged in this enterprise, and it became tremendously intense.
You inspired all of us with your energy, enthusiasm, caring, excitement, fun, and dedication.
As he informed my teaching, so also does he, through me, inform the writing of screenplays that become movies that are seen by literally billions. That's right, me as a boy. Millions of people all around the world. Sterling Jensen's influence prevails.
Sterling changed millions of lives.
Mr. Jensen, thank you for making us better people in so many ways.
So God bless Sterling. He gave a lot to me and a lot to his students and a lot to everyone who ever met him. In fact, anyone who ever met him always thought he was their best friend.
Call it clan, call it tribe, call it network, call it family. Whatever you call it, whoever you are, you need one. Sterling, thank you for allowing me to be part of yours.